How to change the world with a story. With your host, Lion Scott Michels. Hello, and thank you for sitting through that fantastic intro. My name is Scott Michels, Lion Scott Michels, and today I'm going to be talking about how to truly, what I think, save the world with storytelling. I'm going to start with a quick one. Here's a story for you to take home. Imagine that you are the only person who knows what a campfire is. And it's very cold and very dark, and everyone is lonely, cold, and in the dark. So you are going around because you know what a campfire is. You're telling everyone, hey, we have to build a campfire. Hey, can you go get some wood so we can build a campfire? Yes, we need this big campfire because that's what's going to get us warm and that's what's going to keep us light, right? So the thing is, I myself, in a metaphorical way, thought I knew that we needed this campfire. So I was doing that, running around, but nothing was changing in life. The campfire wasn't being built. No one was jumping in and helping. So then, instead of asking people to start the campfire, what I did is I just took the little sticks that I had and a little match, and I made this little teepee, and I sat down and I lit this little campfire, and then I had this little fire, right? And then, once I had this little campfire, all of a sudden, out of the darkness, comes all of the people. Because they see the light attracts them, and then they start to feel the heat. So they're seeing the light and they're feeling the heat. They're like, all right, this is nice. What's this? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a campfire. It's pretty cool, right? Hey, we could keep this going if you go get some more wood. Sure thing, man. I'll go get some more wood. They will come from the dark nights for needing light, warmth, and camaraderie. They will sing, and they will dance, and then help get more. So just build the campfire. And that right there is one of the stories that we use to help change the world. So what's the point of that story? Well, we actually believe that if you are trying to get someone to learn something new, but they have no frame of reference for it, it really helps if you actually show them first instead of telling them. So instead of trying to describe what a fire would be like or what light would be like, you actually build the campfire and then show them so they can understand right off the bat. Well, guess what? We just used the campfire method right here on you. And that is just some of my weird ways of talking when I'm getting sneaky. So what was so sneaky about that? Well, hopefully you're now feeling a little bit excited because of a story that I told. And that right there is the campfire. I'm showing you that with a story, you can light people up. So if you're feeling a little bit lit up, it's because I just showed you this little campfire called storytelling. Break down to another topic. Oh, hello there. Still here? Want a little more? Actually, for you, that was only like a millisecond between the last clip and this clip. But so, right now, I'm going to go into the next part of my presentation where I am going to talk about a story. And I'm going to tell a story that we use in our nonprofit Starfish Casters and that our Lions Club uses to help save the world. Now, I want to preface this by this particular story is very special to me, and I want to guarantee you this, that if I tell the story correctly and if you understand it fully, it will change the outcome of your life. Do you believe I can do that? Let's see. Now, I'm going to be telling a story that we call Starfish Casters. It is based on a parable that many of you might have heard called The Star Thrower by Lauren Isley. If you've already heard the story, listen along, see what you remember from it. And I'm actually interested in those who have heard it before to see if we tell it in a way that's going to be new and exciting for you. If you've never heard the story, sit back and relax. Here is the story of the Starfish Casters, a story that will change your life. Once upon a time, there was a beach, and they called the beach Dead Starfish Beach. The reason why they called it Dead Starfish Beach is because for as long as anyone could remember, the beach was covered with dead starfish. Every single night, starfish wash up in the tides that are still living, and then they get stranded and slowly die throughout the day until they're part of this pile of corpses. Now, it's the kind of place that everyone around is like, oh, you know, you don't want to go to Dead Starfish Beach. It's nasty there. Don't go to Dead Starfish Beach. It's gross. It is what it is. You know, if you go there, you could actually cut your feet. It could be, you know, it smells. It's just best to stay away from Dead Starfish Beach because it is what it is. It's a nasty place, and it is what it is. Well, one day, an old man who lived near Starfish Beach, Dead Starfish Beach, he was walking, and he comes across a little girl. Looks and sees what the little girl's doing, and she is actually going around, looking around at all the dead starfish and finding ones that are still alive, and when she finds them, she's throwing them back to safety. So the old man is like watching this, and he's kind of confused, and he goes up and he says, "What are you doing, little girl?" And she says, in the most beautiful, innocent way, "I'm saving the starfish," and throws another one to safety. Well, the old man kind of chuckles at this. That's adorable, little girl and all, but you know, this is Dead Starfish Beach, and you're only throwing one at a time. 50 more will wash up tonight, so it's cute what you're doing and all, but you're not really going to make a difference throwing one at a time. Well, at that, the little girl looked around. She found one that was still living.
Well, sir,
she picked up that one, and she threw it to safety and said,
"It's certainly going to make a world of difference to this one."
And at that,
aha!
The old man had his first, what we call, aha! Moment. Now, you probably know what an aha moment. An aha moment is when you see something, hear something, learn something, and your entire perspective changes. And you cannot unsee it. So now the old man, his first aha moment was, oh my goodness, every action makes a difference. And he realized that because even though he thought the small one starfish was a minuscule, not meaningful action, he realized what the girl said, it makes a world of difference to that one. But the old man, he's a typical guy, well, you know, that's good and all, but 50 more washing up every night. So even though you're making a little bit of a difference, you're not really going to save all the starfish. Well, at that, the little girl said, well, what about the starfish I just threw back? Maybe in its own starfish language, sees other starfish that are headed towards the beach and says, hey, don't go that way. If you go that way, you're going to die. Or you might be in danger. So, of the starfish coming, a lot of them are saying, yeah, well, we do what we do. We're going to that beach because it's dead. Oh! But maybe one or two will say, hey, that person just came back from there. They have some new information. So I'm going to actually not go to Dead Starfish Beach today because of what that person said. And at that comes the second aha moment, which is not only does every action make a difference, but every action ripples beyond our sight. So the starfish that we help can actually go on and help other starfish not reach the beach. Now, I want to let you know that these rippling actions happen whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing. But we'll get to that in a minute. So all of a sudden, at this, the old man looks down, and where the little girl is standing is actually beautiful sand. And he's like, oh my gosh, you mean this is a beach? This is like a beach with sand and water. And like, I spend $5,000 to go down to Florida for a month, and you mean I could be right here at the beach? And all of a sudden, that's when he starts to realize, oh my gosh, look at this. Oh my gosh, dead. And here's one of the, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. He says, Dead Starfish Beach! Why it is Dead Starfish Beach? Because that's the world I accept as normal. Dead Starfish Beach is Dead Starfish Beach because that's the world I accept as normal. At that, he realized that because he accepts it as Dead Starfish Beach and he walks by and says it is what it is, he's actually causing Dead Starfish Beach. And that's when he realized that the third aha, there is no neutral. And what that means is that you are either helping something to solve, or you're allowing the things that you don't want to grow. There's no neutral. So now that he realizes that he's either making Dead Starfish Beach or making clean, beautiful beach, he says, even though I might not be there to see the end, I'm not gonna live another day making Dead Starfish Beach. I'm gonna help you, little girl. So now the two of them are on the beach together and they're having fun doing this work. When all of a sudden other people come by and they start looking around like, what's going on over there? And then they come up and they say, what are you doing? They say, we're saving the starfish. They say, you can't do that, it is what it is. Then they say, watch us. Next thing you know, kind of like the campfire, right? They actually see it happening instead of being told about it. So then all of a sudden, other people start helping because, aha, number 4, action is contagious. Contagious, it spreads. Negative or positive, it doesn't matter. Whatever actions are happening, it is contagious. So when people are walking by and saying, it is what it is, they are actually spreading that to everyone they know, their children, their family. They're spreading that apathy. But when you step up and say, it is what it is until I do something about it, and you start showing people how to be active and showing people how to help, then you become the contagious action that starts that happening. So just instead of people walking by, the new contagious action was people started to help. And more people started to come and the beach started to get cleaner quicker. Then someone comes by and they are a scientist and they're really, really smart, smarter than me. And they say, it's really nice that you're doing all of these starfish here, but why don't you think about the ocean and the structural things in the ocean that are sending the starfish here? If you can deal with that in the ocean, you might not ever have starfish landing on the beach. And the little girl says, oh my gosh, that's genius. Can you go work on that while we're doing this? So the scientist says, of course, I've got it. Next thing you know, a chef comes in. I'd like to help, but I cannot touch starfish because my hands, I must cook food and can't touch starfish. So the little girl says, hey, I have an idea. Why don't you cook a dinner for us for when we're done on the beach, we can all have a meal together. He says, yes, I love that. He goes off. Then someone else comes up and says, I'm a singer, what can I do? I have an idea, how about I write a song? Save the starfish. And from that we realize that every single human being has their own role in saving the beach. So that's the next aha, is that everyone has their role to play. Now, what happens is everyone's doing what they love to do. The scientist is doing science, the chef is cooking, people are having fun on the beach. It's all coming together and the beach is cleaning. Next thing you know, we're in our new world. And it all is because of this. One person chose to be the contagious action. And what we are asking you to do after hearing the story is realize these ahas all come together to create our world. Are we talking about Dead Starfish Beach? No. What are we talking about? Well, I'm going to step out of storytelling mode and now jump into trainer mode. Okay, so I told you that we use this story to save the world. Well, how? We use the story because the starfish story is universal. Dead Starfish Beach can be whatever the groups you are working with are working on. Dead Starfish Beach is a great metaphor for a system or something that people really feel is impossible to turn over, right? So bullying, sexism, racism, all of these things are things where people walk by and saying, it is what it is, there's always going to be that. Now think about it like this. If a school administration says, yes, there's always going to be bullying, so we have to figure out how to deal with that, versus there's going to be no bullying here, what they have instantly done is already open the door to the bullies. We know there's going to be bullies, so come on in, do what you got to do. Because we accept it as normal. But bullying is not normal. Loving is normal. So what we're trying to tell you here is that with this particular story, our club uses it and we can change what the characters are as sometimes right as it's happening so that they lock in, but sometimes after. What I'd like you to do right now is think about what service you are trying to get people involved in. Have you lit the campfire for them yet? Have they seen what it looks like in person? Have they started to volunteer before you ask them to grab the wood? If you're trying to work on a large problem, domestic violence, bullying, all of these large things that seem so unbearable, can you use the Starfish Caster story to break it down that it really is up to each individual's responsibility of if they are the contagious action or just following and accepting the worlds that they don't want to accept. And now let's switch it up a little bit. And now I'm going to talk to you about our Lions Club for a moment. The way we recruit lions is we invite them to our campfire. We basically have this service going on that we feel really good about, but it's really hard to explain to people what's going on. So a lot of times what we might do is use the starfish story to help them understand how they can work on themselves with their own system. But then we talk about this campfire model that, hey, if you're already doing something that's great, why don't you come do it over here where we're doing something that's great? And instead of saying, what can you do for the lions? Start saying, hey, what can this campfire of lions do for you in your story? And that just simple flip of realizing that you can use a story to connect someone so that they can see their own selves and their own lives in that story, and now they have a deeper level of understanding from it. So storytelling, when done right or even when done wrong, it begins to get people thinking in ways that they might not. Now, I could have come in right off the top and said, today we're going to learn about storytelling. Storytelling is a scientific thing that makes brains feel better and understand stuff. But of course I had to show you the campfire first. Real quick, before I close out, I just want to show you a couple of the little tricks I did that you might be able to put into your stories. So if you already know how great storytelling is, here's just a couple tips that maybe will enhance your storytelling. Tips! One is that I hypnotized you. I did. You might not have remembered, but I told you that the story I'm going to tell is going to change your life forever. I really believe it will. I really believe that every structural system can be turned around if we understand that we can be the contagious action. But did that change your life? I'm not sure. But by me suggesting that it would, I have implanted a part of you that's going to maybe even say, well, let me see if he can. I bet he can. He's not going to change my life with this story. So let me see what that story is. So that was a little hypnosis, but I was suggesting to you that it's going to change your life, which I think it will. And the other really quick tip I want to show you is I'm silly, all right? I do big arm movements and voices and jump in and jump out. The reason why is because I want you to think about storytelling as storytelling, right? And when we teach video production, we say that the camera is the storyteller. But you as the storyteller, it's going to be up to you whether you make a presentation that is unforgettable or completely forgettable. The way that I try to make things unforgettable is I just go a little bit more. I do a little silly stuff. And at the very end, they might be like, did you catch that crazy guy? But at least then they're talking about me versus like, oh, I'm so glad that's over. Where's lunch? So, don't be afraid to get out of your box. Hypnotize people, use stories, change the world, and hey, tell us the stories that you are using to change the world so that we can use them together as Lions and help really inspire and cause this change that we're trying to do. Lion Scott Michels, and that was How to Change the World with a Story.